Nice. And tell me the expectation that you have of returning to this country, that you've been here like 7 times with this weather.
Yeah, my expectations are for an intense, energetic rock and roll show that gives you the
Yes.
get best buzz of your life. Because that's what I always get in Argentina. I love it. Maybe I have high expectations, but I've never been disappointed by playing in Argentina.
I remember the first time I did an interview with you a long time ago, like 10 years ago in Rio de Janeiro. It was a little space. It was like a bar or something like that. So I would like to know the main difference about playing in a super place with a lot of people. How do you prepare the set list for a little place or maybe a place bigger than a bar? So how are you preparing that set list?
I mean, I always write a set list based on the songs that I feel for that night. I usually write the set list maybe about 2 hours before the gig. I'll go into the room
Oh,
and get a feel for it. And there are certain songs that I will always include in the set list
yes,
because if I was a fan of the band, I'd want to hear them. But as for the order and the way the songs fit together, I can't write it in advance. I've got to wait until I'm in the place and see how it feels. And sometimes I will go through a set list, and occasionally I get it wrong, and I'll just change the set list
ah,
while we're
okay,
playing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
intuition.
to me, that's a cool thing. That's the difference between being a live rock and roll band and a
Yes,
band that plays to a backing track. Like when you're on a backing track, you're like on a train that's on the rails is going to the same destination, and you can't do anything to change it. Whereas when you're in a band that's fully live like us,
yes.
there's a degree of anarchy and unpredictability which to me gives it an extra buzz.
So this is like an amazing moment for you when you have to introduce your album live after like presenting the album. So the live, the guitars, being there, sweating is what you really like about the shows.
Oh yeah, yeah. I love it. I love it as well because like no gig is the same. Like every gig is different. Every gig has a
Yes.
different atmosphere. And I know we played in Argentina just a little bit over a year ago,
Yes.
and this gig is going to be very different from that one because last time we played, the album hadn't been released,
Yes.
and so nobody knew the songs from the Human Fear. And now it's like a year later since it's been released. So I know those songs are going to go down with a very different atmosphere because people know what they are and
Yes.
have a sense of familiarity with them, which
Yes.
changes the way you react to a song really distinctly.
I heard you talking about fears, maybe your childhood fears because of the name of the album, but I don't know if you talk about that you being a dad and maybe that make you feel new fears about life, about death, about taking care. How is that?
But it's funny because the song that the album title comes from is the song Hooked. It's the first line
Hmm.
of that song. And that song's kind of about my fatherhood. Like it's about becoming a parent. And I had this overwhelming sensation when it happened, which is, I guess, we all have existential fears that follow us throughout our lives. Like whether it's just the trivialities of day-to-day existence or the bigger stuff, like what's the point of it all, etc., and what happens when we go. And what I found after I became a father is that all of those fears, they didn't disappear, but it's as if they were making less noise
Okay.
and
Uh,
they became less significant when faced with this overwhelming sense of love I
yes.
had for the new creature in my life, and that's still how I feel today. I think if you talk to anybody who's become a parent, they will say the same thing, that your perspective on life changes completely. And there are certain things that you understand, and one of the things I say in this song as well is how I say I thought I knew what love was, and then I met you, and
Oh,
that's that's exactly how I felt because I experienced all forms of love. I experienced romantic love, deep sexual love,
Uh-huh.
parental love, fraternal love, but I'd never experienced this new form of love, this deep form of love that you have as a parent, and it's really something quite exceptional and overwhelming. Yeah, it's
Oh
really
my
really.
God, I love it. And you feel that you are going to sleep earlier, you take care of yourself a little bit more after being a dad, like, after 20 years of touring. What do you think about
Yeah,
you?
yeah, for sure. Yeah, like I am, yeah, I'm not hitting the whiskey with my kids around for sure.
I stay with this that you said that you love playing live, that you're going to give like a rock and roll show, that you love to be like there. So I would like to ask you about the AI, this whole new world that is playing with this kind of music or with the production. And I would like to know your vision about AI, about the way that people use it, or if you think that it's okay to use it in your music, or you hate it. What do you think about that?
I have, yeah, I have a clear idea about how I feel about AI.
Hmm.
Other people have their own opinions. My basic rule is don't use it for anything creative. AI is incredible for doing tedious administrative jobs.
Hmm.
Like do some research and find this out for me. Find it's like I've arrived in Buenos Aires and I can't open my suitcase. Find me a locksmith. It's good for that kind of shit. It's good for stuff like here's my accounts, sort that out. I can't work out what I spent on train tickets last year. Do that for me. Like that sort of stuff it's great for. However, I feel that art is an expression of humanity.
Absolutely.
Art in all its formats, whether it's visual art, whether it's music, whether it's writing, whether it's cinema, they're an expression of what it is to be human. And I'm afraid
Amazing.
a computer can't do that. You need a human to do that.
And we can apply the name of your new album for this also for music, like the fears of being there, always on top, or when you have like 20 years of career, maybe you have to apply these kind of things, or no, or you can stay in
No,
your place.
I don't have a fear of like being on top because I was 31 when our first album came
Yes.
out, and I started writing songs when I was about 13 or 14. And basically, for how many years was that? Like 16 years, 17 years. I was writing was completely unknown and unrecognized outside of a small circle of artists in Glasgow. And so I'd very much accepted the fact that nobody was going to really appreciate what I did.
Yes.
Then suddenly it exploded. And so now, having had that experience early on in my life, man, I love the fact that the band has a degree of popularity and I love
Yes.
playing to audiences. But I don't feel that I have to rely upon that for a sense of self or a sense of identity. I've got a pretty good idea of who I am without fame to prop it up. And I think it's very unhealthy to rely on that as well. I think the art that you make, the music that you make, should come from within and shouldn't be made in the pursuit of either financial reward or celebrity. Those things always ruin it.
Okay, I love it. And now that you're coming to Argentina, maybe there's something that not all the people know is that you love food. You've been writing about food. You've been here a long time ago, and always here in Argentina, tasting different things. What about this moment that you're coming to Argentina? You want to taste something new? Recommends maybe some food for us in Argentina?
Yeah, I'm always curious, and one of the best things about being curious is leaving yourself open for surprises. Maybe not planning
Okay.
what you're going to discover. Like last time I was in Argentina, I was in Buenos Aires, and I just wandered around the car. I was about 5 blocks away from where I was staying,
Yes.
and there was really old school empanada place,
I
and it looked like it had been there for 80, 90 years,
yes.
something like that. And it was like the empanadas were incredible. They were so good. And I was thinking like, do you know what? This place is special because this couldn't exist anywhere else in the world
Absolutely,
because
yes.
there's the history of the place, and it's ordinary food. It's the ordinary food for working people. It's what people eat on their lunch break. And to me, that's in a way more fascinating than going to
A fancy
a
place.
yeah, then go to a Michelin-starred restaurant. Of course, you can eat well there, and it'll be wonderful. But to me, you have more of a glimpse into
Yes.
how a city works and how people work, and to just sit in a place and watch the people coming in and their lives around about them. That's really
The old
wonderful.
school, yes, I know what you mean. So maybe we're going to see you here in Buenos Aires eating in an old school place, empanadas. Why not? So we're expecting here.
That's more likely. That's more likely.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Thank you really, really much for your time. We're going to enjoy your show here. A lot of people is waiting here for you in Argentina. We love you. You have a lot of fans here, and we want that. We want guitars. We want the mistake on the stage, and that's what we
Real
like.
life.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
So
I'm really excited. I'm really excited to come over, and the rest of the band are as well. We can't wait. And thanks a lot for taking the time to speak to me again today.
no,
And
no. Thank you for the time.
thank you, thank you. Yeah, can't wait.
Thank
Can't wait
you.
to do it.
Thank you very
Cheers.
much. Bye, Alex.
Bye bye.